Hello everyone, it's Scott, and welcome back to another episode of Feed the Beast Infinity Valve Skyblock Expert Mode. So my redstone issues are finally under control. So the blocks are restored, every innovation dynamo is full, and all my capacitors are fully charged. So I think I've kind of gotten over the hump with the power production. So it's obviously time for me to find new ways to spend spend my RF. So down here, I've crafted the beginnings of a new grinding area. So what I ended up doing was creating a new cobble gen with several of the transfer nodes, which are dumping into this deep storage unit. So the deep storage unit is essentially a 2 billion capacity storage container, and so I'm already up to 1.3 million just storing cobblestone. So these are all being piped out into all of these hammerers, which right now do not have any kind of upgrades because I'm waiting for my power to kind of stabilize. And once I do that, these are going to pump the gravel out to a deep storage unit, which will feed a variety of automatic sieves, which will then grind down into sand and grind all the way down to dust. And so this will be how I'm going to power the new, basically all my new materials. And so the reason that I kind of want to get this guy started is I'm looking for yellorium. Yep, so I want to build a big reactor to produce some RF power to kind of mitigate the need for all of this redstone. So if I can just, produce power by burning the yellorium ingots, well, then I'll be all set. Since the beginning of play, I've been kind of caching all of my yellorium here. So however that works out to be, yellorium or dust, each one of these dusts is going to become 4 yellorium pieces of, let's just take a look. So yellorium or dust is made by powdered yellorium ore, and then each one of these blocks can become a single ingot. So with the ingots, then that's what I'm going to need to produce the casing and everything that I need here. So if we check out my inventory, I've been prepping with the core reactor parts. And so what I'm going to do is let's dump these into my molecular assembler. And so the reactor control rods are what's actually going to kind of be the ratio of the power production. So these are going to go at the top of the reactor. I have reactor access ports for pumping the yellorium in and taking the cyanide out. I have the red net ports, which are going to become very important shortly, and then power taps for getting RF energy in and out. And so I've already made the reactor casing. So let's see how many of these I can pump out. Yep, so let's just start 300 just for kicks. And so with that, there's only a couple more things that I need to make. So I have the control rod. I have the coolant ports are going to be for when I convert it into a passive, well, I guess they call it an active reactor, where I'm actually producing steam. And that's going to be an important second step once I get the initial one up and running. And then the important thing here is that the reactor controller, well, not that hard, but I'm actually going to need the yellorium fuel rods. And so these are going to be a little more challenging in Infinity. So these are going to need pellets of RTG fuel, which are 3 pieces plutonium each. I made these before, and so what I've done is I've paused my my reactors over here to kind of allow all the plutonium to build up. And I think that if I go with a base model where I have 5 ports or 5 control rods. I'm going to make it either 4 or 5 tall. So with 25 times 3, I'm going to need 75 of these plutonium. So let's put on my protective armor. Let's take out 2 stacks just for kicks, and then we'll fix the recipe here so everything can get back to normal. Apply. Yes. Okay. So that'll grind through and make all of my MOX nuclear fuel out of the rest of the stuff. I can then put the plutonium into the ME system, and then well, actually, I think I'm going to need to keep my armor on when I head up. Fortunately, I can teleport around without needing the flight ability. So let's bring up the Yellorium fuel rod again. So pellets of RTG fuel. Fortunately, I did make dense iron plate, and looks like I didn't really make enough of it, so let's crank out another 100 of these. So it's going to take 700, maybe. Let's try again. So what I learned is I can use the middle mouse button to just click on an item that I've already made a formula for. And so that'll actually work out pretty well. Oh, I see what's happened. Because I'm already using my max. See, I don't have enough crafting terminals here. I only have this guy who has the 64, and all the rest of mine are kind of capping out at 5,000 items. So I guess I could make another crafting storage. Will that work? Little expensive, but yeah, I can't make it as long as I have that other formula running. So what's actually consuming stuff? So, oh, I'm still making this tesseract. That's what's going on. So that's what's jamming up my system. Ender electron. So I'll check in on that shortly. But let's at least get the pellets of RTG fuel up and running. We'll put that in the assembler blocks here. So bink bink, and then so let's make, I don't know, let's see, I needed 25. Can I make 10 of them? Nope, I can't even make 10. Can I make 5? Okay, I'm a little jammed up now. Alright, well, let me see if I can get that unstuck, and I'll cut right back. Alright, so my problem was that everything wanted to use the pulverizer at the same time, so while I wait for all those formulas to finish crafting, what I'd like to do is move on to the next piece, which is using the Eldritch Eye. So the Eldritch Eye has a function in the Blood Altar that we're able to create a Master Blood Orb, a Tier 4 storage orb. So let's remove the old guy here and throw in one of the Eldritch Eyes. And that's going to need 40,000 blood, which at this point I should have more than enough. So let's just sigil. And so I had wired up some things. Okay, yeah, that's at 11,000 already. So I had wired up some tanks to extract the blood, and then drums, and then I kind of overdid the drums a bit. 3 of them right here. Let's move one of these over. Okay, dink, dink. And so then I ended up building yet another iron tank. At this point, I have 600 buckets, 639 buckets of life essence, and so this is eventually just going to fill up, since it should be feeding from the witch-powered ritual of sacrifice here. Bink, awesome. So let's grab that out, shift right click, and now I should have a master blood orb that can support quite a bit more power. So let's grab the other sigil, and that should tell me my total capacity. Yep, well, it didn't. It just says that I have 150,000 life points, 152,000 life points in my network right now. So let's head back to the ME system and take a look at where we are in the crafting. So, okay, another 74 refined iron to go. The RTG fuel still needs another 450 plates. And, well, unfortunately, the Enderium is waiting on a induction smelter to kind of finish its work. Alright, I've decided that I'm going to build the big reactor here on a level under my base where I'm definitely having it chunk loaded. So I think maybe about here should be fine. So I'm relatively close to the existing quantum ring, so that means I can get some ME channels. I'll be close to here for transporting power, and so and like I said, all this area is chunk loaded. So let's take a look at the formulas here and grab all of our reactor casings. So that should do it. Okay, so let's see how far away. Let's check the chunk boundaries here. And okay, so I can put it here in this chunk, which means let's grab some slabs to kind of draw a border of where I'm allowed to place stuff. So I'm right up against this edge. So let's draw it out at least to... Okay, there's the edge of the chunk. Okay, so this is the total width of the chunk. So let's see if I were to start placing reactor casings. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I go with a pretty simple design, what I'll have, oh, that's 8. Okay, so let's go with 9. So I'll need a pattern of at least, I think, a crisscross or a plus sign in the center. So let's fill this out with the builder's wand, since I have everything in the inventory. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that should be all of the additional. Yep. Boop. That should be all of the blocks that I need to be the core of the big reactor. So next, let's build. So that's 5 tall, but I probably want at least a smidge taller. Yeah, that would probably be good to start. Now let's do one more, just for kicks. So let's do that and lay out the corners. Alright, so here's the boundary of the big reactor. So I still have a fair number of casings left to place. So let's take care of that. So the next step is going to be to create the control rods and the Elorium fuel rod. So let's lay out how I want to have this pattern on top. So I think, yep, okay, so let's go with at least 5 to start. Yep, that should be good. So let's then order up 5 of these reactor control rods. Start. Okay. Now we're also going to need 2 power taps. Well, actually, I think we're only going to need 1 power tap to get energy out to start. And then the access ports we're going to need 2. 1 for an import and 1 for an export. So let's start all of that. Oh, and lastly, I'm going to need 2 RedNet ports for controlling the amount of fuel insertion. So, reactor glass, do I want to create... yeah, that would certainly add some flair. So let's reactor glass. You know what? No, on second thought, since this is going to be underground, I don't really need it to be clear or light up because I know how it's going to. I know what the pattern's going to be. So let me. Okay, I'm going to rip all this up again because I forgot that I need to actually. I'm going to need to place down some coolant fluid. So let me take care of that. Alright, let's grab everything back out of the ME system. So, reactor control rods, access ports, power tap, RedNet ports, and good. Alright, so let's grab all of that and start placing it. So the access ports can go here and here. So I'll have one for inbound and another for outbound. So let's right click with a wrench in order to change that to an outbound style. So we're also going to need a power tap to get the RF power out. This will be the space for the controller, and then I'll need the 2 RedNet ports. Well, not like that, but like this. Bink, bink. And then I'll need to hook that up with RedNet cable once this is energized. So in the center, we're going to need the 5. Let's take care of that. 1, 2, 3. Actually, yep, just 2. So it's not the most efficient design in the world, but will get me started. So let's place it like such. Okay, so next we're going to need the Eulorium control rod. So let's make up a batch of those. So the RTG, I have 30 of these. So let's, did I ever make, no, I never made the Eulorium fuel rod. Okay, so these are going to need hardened glass. So hardened glass, and while that's running, let's make 100 of it. Why not? And let's head upstairs and then whip up some formulas for that. Okay, so Eulorium will be here, this kind of vague one. So Eulorium fuel rod. And since I have 5 control rods and a 5 height, I'm going to need 25 of the Eulorium. So let's take care of that. Good. And while that's ticking, let's head down and start wiring up some other functions here. So we're going to need that tesseract that finally finished. And that's going to be a inbound, because this is an energy producer. Okay, not enough control rods. Alright, right click and we're going to have this go enabled, and we're going to have this import into the power line channel. So that way when this is running, this will be ready to go. So likewise, we're going to need to hook this up to the ME system. So let's start laying some cable for that. What'll be the easiest way? Okay, well, I can just run a cable down, I think, from here. I might flip these left to right now that I think about it in order to reduce the run length. So let's take care of that while things are still fresh. Okay, and lastly, click. So that will work all right. So let's handle the next part. So let's just do a simple run of Fluix cable with some an import bus and an export bus. Excellent. We'll just run this up to the quantum gate up there. Okay, so for imports, we're going to export from the ME system, and we're going to import the plutonium back once it is generated as a waste fuel. So I think the last thing I might need to make then is the let's just hook this up. So I think I'm ready to actually make the controller itself. So let's head on up and see what I need to do for that. Alright, so the reactor controller is going to require a Redstone comp chipset, some red pipe wires, and a computer. So with the red comp chipset, all we need is the redstone and a comparator. So I can come over here to the assembly table and just throw in the non-chipset item. So let's grab that and that, turning off the oh, here it is, the redstone comp chipset. Let's turn off the grab the diamond out, so that way this will actually build. There we go. So let's grab redstone comp chipset, then head back up. Bink. So next we're going to need the computer. So let's grab the reactor controller again. So the computer from ComputerCraft is just going to require a lot of iron, logic processor, and an iron chipset, which I already have. So there's our computer. And then back to the controller. There we go. What am I missing? I'm probably missing pipe wires. So let's come over here. A redstone controller. No, I'm going to reactor controller. Yep. So here we go. And done. Okay. Not sure why I couldn't click on that before, but okay. Let's head down. Yep, to the reactor area. So placing in the last block here. Okay, now we're ready to work on the inside. So we're going to need a little bit of light, I think. So let's go back and check on the status of the Yellorium fuel rods. So let's grab out all of those and start placing them. Okay, here we go, like so. Okay, so that's going to give me a little bit of light. So let's do that and fill in the rest. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so with that done, now I need to put in some coolant. So I was looking at my fuel supply, and I have 20 buckets of resonant ender. So I think that what I can do is, well, start just laying out buckets probably. Or I can lay out a drum. So let's take a look at that actually. Drum. Let's grab one of these empty guys. We'll put it over. Let's see, that's a, yeah, fluid export bus. Okay, so let's clear the essence. Let's make a resonant bucket, and done. There we go. So we'll prime the fluid export bus with the resonant ender. We'll place the drum down and see if I can extract all of that material. So, yep, so 20 buckets and 250. Let's head back to my other machine and see about, can I load up some more ender pearl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Load all these in here. Excellent. So that'll just pump down and drop the fluid in, which will be fed into the fluid storage cells. So which are going to be exporting out here. Okay, 25 buckets. That'll be good to start. So shift click, and let's head down. Probably too far, but okay. All right, so here's how I've done it before. Let's place the bucket down, the drum down, and we're just going to right-click and do this at the top. There we go. And so I'm just going to rinse and repeat. Actually, you know what I'm not going to do? So there's an interesting thing about big reactors is that you can actually leave the corners empty and save yourself a bit of material by not having to fill in the these last corners. So the big reactor actually only works in the 4 direct dimensions, not with reaching out to in a circular pattern. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. So let's just fill in these guys here. And I'll just get it to the point where I can, I think, have a pretty good layout. Okay, just a couple more and I should be good to go. Alright, that should be alright for what I need. So let's go down and get the, do I have more reactor casing? Yeah. So let's grab everything I can here and just fill this in so I can get the multi-block complete. Alright, here we go with the last block. And with that, we see that it's transformed into a solid multi-block. And so let's come down and right-click on the controller and take a look at the interface. So what I have here are a couple of meters. So until I click this Activate Reactor button in the bottom left, the reactor is not going to do anything. So I have 5 fuel rods. I have 100,000 millibuckets of capacity. Right now it's off, of course, so it's nice and cool, and there's no energy. So what I'm going to have to do is grab some Eulorium here and start feeding it into the system. So I'm going to set up Eulorium on the export bus so that if I have anything in the ME system, let's grab some accelerator cards and make sure that that's set up. Bink. And so that'll pump out any Eulorium I have. And okay, so that 29 ingots became 29 buckets worth of fuel. So let's take the uh, Yellorium ore dust, and we'll grab a couple stacks of that. Let's just head up to the interface level, and I'm not sure if I demoed this before. This is a new attempt to kind of expand the redstone furnace production. So what I can do is place it in the chest, which will evenly distribute everything out to all the furnaces simultaneously. So this is then processing 4 stacks at a time, since I dumped in 4 stacks. And so this will be done in no time, actually, by the time I head back down. So another discovery was that I can shift right click with the staff of traveling, and it'll do a short teleport like an ender pearl would, except it's using RF power. So let's take a look here at the reactor. So I'm 100% full at this point. So let's power it up. Okay, so starting off, it is definitely not efficient. So 1 millibucket a tick, and there's 20 ticks a second. So this is going to be a pretty wasteful amount of Yellorium usage. I wonder if I can even see how it's ticking. No. But what I'd like to do is set up a control pattern using the redneck cable. So, alright, I don't know where my other cable went, so I'm going to make a little bit more. So let's just make a couple of plastic sheets here. Bink, bink. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab our 8 redneck cable, and we'll head down here. Okay. And here we are. Alright, so all I have to do is shift click to connect these 2 reactor rednet ports together. I'll right click on this, and I see that this is lit up green. So what I'd like to do is link this so I can control the fuel usage based on the amount of energy withdrawal. So if I were to change here, change control rod insertion, I'm going to drop this icon over here and make it control all the control rods. Commit. Alright, then we're going to go over to this rednet port, and we're going to do the same thing but have the energy amount be over here. Commit. And so with that, what we're going to find is that without any kind of special computers or anything, the reactor is going to go into a buffered mode where it's based on the amount of energy usage, it's going to dampen itself down. So before we saw that it was producing quite a bit RF per tick, but now it's actually auto-damping the control rods down 75% in order to reduce the amount of unnecessary fuel burn. And we see here we're now down to 0.3 millibuckets a tick, which is pretty good given how nerfed reactors are within Infinity Skyblock. Alright, here is the completed grinding area. So, what's going to happen is that the redstone flux is now feeding all the parts. All I have to do is go through and put in upgrades on each of these devices, and I should be good. So, cobble turns into gravel and runs through a sieve. Gravel turns into sand and runs through a sieve. Sand turns into dust and runs through a sieve. All these sieves are then merged and dumped into a drawer controller, which is the same model as upstairs, where it just dumps all the items here into a set of storage drawers. The storage drawers are then exported using a filter looking for each of the different types of ores. That is then dumped into a buffer chest, which is then split among all the auto compressors that used to be upstairs. And so since I have this set up in nearest first order, it will always go and fill 1, 2, 3, and that will make sure that that I don't end up with any kind of like weird overlaps here. So that should work pretty well. And then once the output of that's done, it's sent into a buffer chest. The buffer chests are then thrown into this grinder, and the cycle repeats until I'm left with just either dust, like so, and then those will go back into, well, I guess for now, those should go back into the door storage systems. That way they can be processed by the Tinker's Construct smelteries. So I think with that, I'm going to call this an episode. Pretty productive as far as RF power. I went back and looked at a piece of the old video, and this guy was maxing out at 14,000 RF per tick. So pretty good, I'd say, for just a starter reactor. I ended up replacing all the pipes with a interface with a crafting card, so if I ever run out, it's going to go and just pull the Elorium through the crafting system. But in this case, let's take a look. Yeah, so 2,800 Elorium ore dust. So once this grinds down, it'll start drawing from that reserve, but I'll be replenishing it thanks to the new grinding area. So if you could, please leave a comment or a like and let me know how I'm doing, and I will see you next time in Feed the Beast Infinity Evolved Skyblock Expert Node. Bye!